When you're that new mom with the babies, everybody always told me it was easier. And it really is, because when they get older, it truly is easier because they can tie their own shoes and they can actually help with dinner and they can carry a baby's car seat out to the van for me this morning. But there are heart issues now that you have to be really sensitive about.
I think that me as a first-time mom was a super crazy, anxious, overprotective. Trying to do everything so particular because you might mess up this little person that's all of your job.
Welcome to the Brand New Me podcast. I'm Frances.
And I'm Pam.
And we are two women passionate about helping others thrive in life, not just survive. In each episode, we're going to find creative ways to offer hope for your future through our own life experiences. So join us every week as we learn together that we really can be a brand new me. Welcome to episode number 45, and this is Mother's Day week. Happy Mother's Day, all you moms. Whether it's a biological mom or a spiritual mom or a musical mom, every woman is touching someone else's life. So we celebrate women this week, and we are in for a treat. Now, you women that actually have little ones, whether they're adopted or foster or you gave birth to them, you know that things happen when you're a mom. So that's what we had. We were going to have three women, and Susan Pontius, hey Susan, called me before the interview and said, my little son, we can't do this today. He's sick. So we have Joanna and Megan, and we still had a great time. So just join us and listen into a conversation about motherhood. Welcome, Megan and Joanna. I'm going to start off with a fill-in-the-blank question. I wish I drove a
Honda Pilot.
You've heard my story. I'm glad I don't drive a smaller one that didn't fit so many people in it. Like when you turn around the corner, you don't hit the curb with the back wheels because you've got so many people in the back.
Okay,
that kind of car.
A Honda Pilot. I've been driving my mother's occasionally, and I love it. Oh. You can still fit a few people in there, but it turns on a dime. It's amazing. Oh. And it has heated seats and a steering wheel that's heated.
And cooled seats as well.
Well, I haven't tried those yet.
Cool seats.
Yes.
Well, here's another one. I wish I would have known that.
I wish I would have known a lot of things.
Right. That's where I'm like, how do you pinpoint that?
Yeah, I wish I would have known how all those little things matter so much, but they also don't matter so much. They matter in your training them, and they matter in your life story, but there's so many things I think I was frozen on when my kids were so little that I look back now and I'm like, why did I care so much? Like what time they needed to eat and take a bottle and take a nap, and because if they didn't, the whole world might come crashing down. And then if I would look back a week later, I wouldn't remember what time they ate or took a nap or went to sleep at night. And I think that me as a first-time mom was a super crazy, anxious, overprotective.
I hear you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Trying to do everything so particular because you might mess up this little person that's all of your job. And I'm like, you can't mess them up. You can't mess them up.
If you've listened to this podcast before, you know that we've had Megan and Joanna both on here before. Megan is Pam's daughter, and Megan is holding baby number 7, little Rayna, in her arms. Megan, Now that you've had 7, how do you look back at being a new mom?
It still amazes me that I have the job to take care of one little person's life. So I remember when she came, I'm like, oh, I know how to do this. It's amazing how the instinct of a mother kicks in, and, even though I forget like how I took care of everybody else and somehow they're all still alive, yes, I can do it again. It's just amazing how God puts it in us to just do it,
I mean, I think motherhood's one of those things you don't really ever know what to do. And I think that's why it's a natural instinct in all of us, but there's so much dependency on God and community and friends. And my own mom, I depended on so much more as a mother than I did before I was a mother. And I think that's what makes it so special, is that community that you can find around motherhood that you maybe weren't in before, but that's just because you probably didn't need it before. But that's been a blessing for me, and having to rely on God's strength in a lot of days when you're weary and you're exhausted and you're tired and you don't know what you're doing. I don't think I'd ever experienced that before in my life until motherhood.
Joanna, you have 4 children. Megan, you have 7. How do you feel about Mother's Day?
Well, unfortunately for my family, I usually want to leave the house.
You want a day off?
I do. I want a day off, and I feel bad because Mother's Day is that day where you think, oh, we should all be together and we should go. Like I know my husband's family would always go up to this local park with his mom, and everyone would play, and she liked being outside at a park in the middle of nowhere. But I don't really prefer that. So I said, why don't we do that for Father's Day? So for me, I'm like, I just would like a day to just kind of be by myself.
Hang out with your mother.
Hang out with my mom.
Yes.
Exactly. Actually,
she's here.
Well, that is really what we prefer to do. We'd rather go and watch a movie and hang out at her house where there's nobody who needs me. But yet I do feel selfish when I say that, because I know they want to spend time with their mom on Mother's Day. But I guess it's just different right now because I still have so many littles, and the bigger kids are easy, and I would love to just take them somewhere and go do something fun with them. But anyhow, it's just a matter of just trying to embrace having the little ones, and sometimes it's not always easy on Mother's Day because you think, oh, it should be all about me, but really
it never is when you're a mom. Not on Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Not on your birthday.
How do I say this?
How do you feel about it, Joanna? Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I don't want to cook or clean, or when I'm at home, like there's just stuff to do no matter what. So
Right.
we could be anywhere other than, it's like your office. I say to my husband, it's like your office. It's where when you're there, you're still working. When you leave your office, you're done working. My home is like I'm operating at 150 mile an hour speed every second that I'm going. So it feels good to leave that. But
Right.
So it's probably just really hard for husbands to say, okay, I'll take the kids for the whole day, you have the day off. Does that just not happen?
My husband's done it before. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he knows that I need a little bit of an escape. And he knows that I really enjoy time with my mom, too. So, it doesn't get to happen as often as we'd like. But I know he respects that and wants to honor that.
So if there was one thing, if you had a wish for one thing to do, and you wouldn't take any of your children, and you wouldn't even take your mother.
Well, that's nice of you to say.
I know.
Thanks,
Yeah. What would it be? What would you do that would be so relaxing to you, or fulfilling, or just make you feel special, or just feel like I got away for the day? What would that one thing be?
A spa comes to mind. Something relaxing. But I would enjoy just time with other moms or other friends that may not be moms, just to chat and laugh and not have to have a time constraint to be back home, and go somewhere to sing with people. That would be fun for me. That's life-giving.
I was thinking of like the gym
I never think of
with
the
like
gym.
a steam shower after. And then maybe a massage and then some shopping and coffee without anyone, by myself maybe. I don't know. I'm a people person. It's hard. Even on Mother's Day, I want to be around people. I want to be around my kids, and I just don't want to be serving everyone like every other day. Maybe that's the difference. I like exercise. I do.
I do too.
We should hang out more often. You can encourage me.
I don't know. It's been a few years. I'm not going to lie. Things have physically changed for me. But back in the day, maybe, I don't know. That's like a release of energy for me too. I feel like accomplished when I sweat for a minute. Other than like scrubbing a toilet and sweat.
Good for you.
I'm taking a biking class and this is good.
So I know you both have children and some are a little bit older. What are some of the things maybe you're teaching them as far as housekeeping? Like, do you have a chore program? Do you just say, go clean
Chore
the...
program?
Well, sure, you have to have a chore program.
Pam Fleming had a chore program.
I believe that, but
Not with me, but when she was a house parent, she had them.
That's true. So, but what is it that how do you get your children encouraged to help around the house? How's that? That sounds better than a chore program.
Yes, because
You're probably way better than me.
my mother has tried to help me implement a chore program at my house.
We even wrote it out.
I had beautiful laminated paper that they checked off, and it was lovely, and it actually worked for a short time.
like a day or two? Or
No, it was for like a whole summer, I think. But then we started school again, and that was really hard to like make all that happen and homeschool and make dinner and make everybody do what they had to do, I guess. So anyhow, my kids do know that they have a part to play in our family because they help make the mess. So I never have to unload my dishwasher because that's just set. And it's the funniest thing on my calendar. Every day it's their initial, who gets to unload the silverware, because apparently that's more fun to unload than anything else.
Wow.
Yes. And that has been the most consistent thing. It's bizarre. But they all know they have jobs to do, and we're just, even teaching the little ones to start helping now as well. But I wouldn't say I'm a very systematic kind of person, but I do like to say, okay, this is what you're doing. You're in charge of garbage every week, and then you're going to tell your sister to put the bags back in when you're done. And, the boys always have to take care of those chickens outside, whether they remember or not.
She has chickens, and they lay the biggest eggs you've ever seen.
do.
Oh, my heavens. And I get to have them for breakfast.
Wow.
They're delicious.
I would love to have chickens. I can't convince Tom to get chickens, but oh well. What about you, Joanna? What do you do to implement a chore plan or teach responsibilities?
Yeah, I think my story's a little different because we had this huge thing come into our life. And I think before I had cancer, I was a control freak of a mom, and that was just my personality. I'm type A.
You would have had a chore plan.
I would not have. I would have just done it all myself because I could do it right, and I could do it better, and I could do it quicker.
You are the chore plan.
And yeah, so I'm like, I'm going to just do this real quick. Like, help me do this. But by the time we were helping each other, I would have just accomplished it because it was easier. And then I think when I got sick and I couldn't do anything for a year, that was really good for me to realize that I was not training my kids up probably the best way by doing everything for them instead of teaching them that.
And probably seeing how capable they are.
Yes, yes. So a lot has changed since then, and that was 3 years ago. And my kids have gotten older in that time too, because before that they were younger. But they do a lot now, and we had a lot of people helping us, and then I think they also witnessed that. And Mommy doesn't have to do everything, and we can help her. But I've seen my oldest blossom in that and take ownership in that. They do a lot of things. My kids, they do their own laundry. If I do it, I just run this cycle, and then they fold it and put it away, and they do the dishwasher, and they do their own bathrooms. And it's definitely a more corporate living than it was before when I just
freeing
did
for
it all.
you?
It's very freeing, and I don't care how it gets done, and I don't care if it's not perfect. But I've seen them almost enjoy it because they get to accomplish something, and they get to be helpful in that. So It's been good for us, really good for us. I'm not a chore chart person. Every time I've tried, I've failed it. I can't.
Me too.
I have tried that.
We've tried.
We've tried. My husband tries, and we get in a fight because he wants it one way, and we don't follow through. I mean, it's just like, let's just all help when we need to help. It sounds easier than it is when I just say that, but it really has. A lot of times, it's just like asking them, what do you want to do to help today? What we need to do this, and this. Which thing do you want to do to help? And it's amazing how they will pick things that they like when you give them choices too.
You know, I think one thing that's beneficial for them to have those jobs to do, they get to have a better understanding of some things that I go through. So if they just mop the floor, they're not going to want somebody to come in and step on their clean floor that they just worked so hard on. Or someone might have just washed all the dishes, and then someone throws their bowl in the clean sink that they just washed, you know. And I think they are able to get a better understanding of like, oh, that's what I've done all these years to mommy, and maybe I should be a little bit more helpful and considerate, you know, of the jobs that other people are doing, and they want to help with that.
Yeah.
Let's say there's a mom out there that's really struggling. Maybe her first baby, second baby, maybe she has a toddler, and she just really doesn't know where to turn. And maybe her mom doesn't live near her, maybe she doesn't have the friends. What advice would you give her, if you could think back when you had your first babies, what advice would you possibly give her in order for her to make it through until this child goes to college?
Yes.
Wow, Pam.
Whoa.
Well, I think back to when I had my first two, and I lived up in upstate New York, so I didn't have mom close by. We had a great church that we were part of and community, but you know, we were relatively new being up there, so I didn't really feel like could always feel like I can call on people. And I admit it was really hard, like those first two, because my first two are only 18 months apart. And I remember the times where I was like, I can't do this. And I would run to my room and I would throw myself on my bed and cry. And that's real. You know, I know every mom, especially at the beginning, it's really difficult. But just to try to look to the future, knowing that you are raising up a sweet child, that it just kind of gets you through, knowing that you're helping this little person to grow and teaching them. But if you do have somebody who offers to help, take the help.
Do people offer to help moms? I mean, does that exist?
It does, in the right community. I don't know if everybody has that, but like I'm blessed to be a part of like a homeschool community that, you know, we're all a bunch of moms that we all understand. So I think of many situations where a mom's like, do you need a meal? I'll bring you a meal. Or even this time when we just had the baby, we've had more meals at this church than we've ever had. Maybe it's because it's so big and there's more people, but it just was really great to see people really wanting to be a help in that way. Food helps everybody.
It does.
Yes.
Can it be hard for moms to ask for help?
I wouldn't have wanted it at first until I had to have it, and then you realize what a gift it is.
Right.
And one person told me, I'll never forget it, and it was under, you know, not mothering circumstances, but you can easily relate it to that. I mean, she said people are praying for someone to be able to help and bless, and you might be that person as an answer to their prayer, so stop getting in the way of that.
Wow.
And when somebody offers to help you, a lot of times they're not just being nice, like they really want to serve you, and so let them do that. That's what they've been praying to be able to do for someone. So that's changed my perspective in serving others, but also when someone offers something, to just know that they're trying to bless you and say yes. Yes.
Now that your children are starting to grow and you've seen not just their characteristics or their personality types, but you're starting to see the giftings in them, what are maybe some of the things you do to bring out the giftings that you see in your child so that they can go further in whatever they're really good at?
I know for my second child, Sophia, she's my artsy, my fine arts girl, I should say, because she loves painting and she loves music and she loves drawing and she loves all those kind of things. So I obviously give her the tools to practice them. Thankfully, we've been able to give her some piano lessons over the last year. I love that Mom was able to take us to your concert at Christmas time and just to see her eyes light up because she was in awe of all that was going on because she loves that stuff. So just giving them opportunity. Now, lessons are expensive, and you have multiple kids, it gets pricey, So you can't always do that. But if you can, there's so many tools out there now, online and wherever, friends that might be willing to teach your kids, giving them opportunity to do what they love. My oldest was just able to be a part of a mock trial, and he got to wear the suit and the tie and be the prosecution. And
is he interested in that?
He is now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he's my firstborn. He's definitely outgoing, but he's definitely more of a driven, visionary kind of kid. And I'm just thrilled that even just in taking a part in the homeschool group that we're in, knowing that that's another tool that I'm able to give to him, say, here's something that you can learn from and figure out what you like. So I just think it's a lot of giving them opportunity to do what they enjoy.
I like to make them try a lot of things and not just be stuck in the one thing that they're good at or they think they like the best, because I see where they get comfortable and get comfortable quickly, and I don't want them to stay there and know that just because they're good at that, that's not the only thing and the only gift God's given them. So I like to, at their age now, almost 12 and 9 and 7 are my 3 girls, to try a lot of things and see all the different gifts and abilities God's given them, and not just stay, I guess, in that one thing you're really good at and stay there and not try to branch out and get so comfortable. And that's a challenge for me too, I guess, or for us all the time as moms. We're good in this one thing, just stay in this one thing. And if you haven't tried other things, you don't know what God can do and use you there too. So
I think I'm kind of one of those crazy people who likes to try everything. So
yeah,
my kids always see me doing this and that. And
but even that's even with food and things, like you say, try everything. I'm like, try this new dinner you have. You might really like it. And try this other team, or try to play an instrument because you can this year. And just to soak up all of the different opportunities that they do have and are given right now. And then I think they will start to mold into what their likes are. I don't know, I think our culture right now is so much do that one thing and do it well, and don't get sidetracked on anything else, and you don't have time for anything else. And I think for me, I just like my kids to have the freedom to go out and play in an imagination land still, and just do that too, and not have to be good at something all the time and training in that all the time, and just be kid for a little bit
too.
And
enjoy life.
Yeah.
Go play in the dirt.
Yeah. When they're young, they just need a lot of time to know who they are and be free and play. And all those things will come. I wish I would have waited half of my life for all the scheduled things that I did. So
when I was growing up, our big thing was we went out and played kick the can. And if you'd say that to somebody now, they'd be like,
what?
Kick the can?
Yes.
It's an app.
Yeah, probably is.
Oh, that's sad.
It is sad.
Hey, speaking of technology, how do you guys handle technology now with your kids? Is that a battle?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like we're a little behind the times. I don't know.
In what
Well, that's a good thing then.
Yeah,
if you're feeling that way.
My oldest has an iPad, has music on it, and she can email a few people, but that's really about it, other than our devices that they will use. We're going to hold off on all those things as long as we can.
Does that create an issue for your kids at all?
It hasn't really yet. I know
It's
that it's
starting
something
to
they
in my
want.
house.
Yeah. They know they want it, and they know that it's coming, and they have compared themselves and started to see that. But it's even with TV and stuff.
What's interesting, there's a book called The Plug-in Drug, and actually was written, I'm thinking in the 80s, maybe late 70s, but it was talking about television.
Wow.
Okay, so you look at how many hours kids watched TV back in the day, and how, now another book I didn't read, but my husband did.
We should do on all the books I have.
I know.
Yes.
Moseman. But I get the Cliff Notes from my husband. So anyhow,
That works.
but it talks about how after they're done watching a show or a movie or whatever, they really are more grouchy and more irritable and not as pleasant. So then fast forward to now, where it's not just sitting in front of the television watching Lassie like I did, but now it's like, they've got a movie on the TV, plus they're FaceTiming or Facebooking their friends on their phone, but then their iPad probably has a game running,
Yeah.
And there's so many hours of that. People just talk about how it's actually making kids more stupid than it is helping them and making them smarter. So I know for us, it's a battle, because the teenager wants to have a phone, or just something you can put in his pocket so he can listen to music. And I get that. When you start seeing that it's divisive,
And their behavior is changing.
and it becomes a fight over
That.
things, then honestly, my husband just wants to throw everything out the window. And I think it's tough as a mom, because we use our phones for everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just seeing me sit with my phone, but I'm emailing back to somebody about their schooling thing, or I'm checking the schedule for soccer, or I'm texting Grammy, or she gave me a thumbs up.
Yes.
But I'm using my phone to, and I don't know if that's an excuse or not, but I'm using it a lot during the day because I'm communicating with other people to make arrangements for the kids, really.
Right.
That's what it comes down to.
You're not playing Subway
I'm not
Surfer
playing a
or
game.
something? I don't know what they play.
I'm not. So
Yeah.
I think it's like trying to convey that to them that, I know I have my phone, but it's actually a tool that I'm using to help manage everything around us, where they want it so they can sit and stare and play a video game for however long. So we do give our kids maybe a half hour a day to play on Minecraft, or my little kids like to watch a show. Limited. My
Yeah.
kids do play outside a lot. Thankfully, we have a lovely yard, and aunt and uncle have given them a zillion scooters, and they have things to do. So just this past week I had my sister-in-law's kids with us, so we had 13 kids in the house under the age of 14, and it went really great. They just played outside, and they played well, and they jumped on the trampoline, and they swang on the swings. And is it swang or is it swung?
Swing, swang, swung. I'm not sure.
They were swinging.
Swing.
Anyhow, we talked about dirt, like they're out in their bare feet and running in, and my floor was so dirty.
I know. I saw the bottom of some of those feet this
Oh, yeah, they were black. I'm like, why don't you wear shoes? Anyhow, but all that to say, like, it was beautiful to watch the fun they were having because they were just being kids and using their imagination. And oh my goodness, I've seen the girls run down the stairs with some kind of dress on. And now I'll tell you, talking about technology, a fun way to use it that they used this past week, I guess there's this app where you can make videos and you have the music playing and then you take little shots, and they did that a lot this weekend, and I felt like that was a fun way to use media or whatever. And they just had a blast, being but they were creative in it, and it wasn't just staring at the screen.
Yeah.
What are some things that are really important to you, way beyond the chore plans? Like, what do you want to see happen in your kids?
I want them to love Jesus. I do. I want them to not just love him, but know that every little detail in their life too is him working in them and molding their life. Cleaning the house is a way we serve each other as a family. That's why we do it, not because it's a mess here. And to love our neighbors and to go to school and love people well. And I guess maybe just to be more purposeful in everything that they do. That's what I want to teach them. I want them to know that everything they do can be purposeful when they're using their gifts and abilities to serve God, really. So that would be my number one thing. And then, when you have multiples, I have 4, you have a lot more. Just to learn how to love each other well.
Yes.
And that is so hard with siblings. I mean, I'm one of 6 too, so I grew up in the mix of that too. But looking back, how well my parents just built a community in our family of loving and serving each other. And the fights are going to happen and they're not going to be kind, but I want them to be friends with each other first and to love each other first. If you can build that in your family, it will ripple effect out of your family. But if you can't do it with your own siblings and your own kids and your husband and your whoever is in your family, that it's really hard to take that outside of there. And
yeah, it's a lot of character building.
Yeah.
Every day, every moment, you have an opportunity to help them on their character throughout the day. And I mean, I have mine with me all the time. So there's many character building opportunities. Mm-hmm. Yes. But yeah, I appreciate what you said about teaching them to really love one another, because in that, when you love your family, you know how to love well outside of your home. It's interesting to see how, a teenager may kind of pull away a little bit, and we're working through that right now. Wanting to keep his heart. What is the book about?
Shepherding a child's heart.
Heart. I honestly haven't read it, but I like the title.
Yes, it's a good one.
I like the thought of it because
right.
I just don't want to lose their hearts. Mm-hmm. So I could yell at them till I'm blue in the face about getting their room clean and doing their chores or whatever, but I really, seeing now that I have teenager, I don't want to lose his heart. And I want, like you said, I want him to love Jesus, and I don't want anything that I do during the day and my micromanaging of everything to deter him from wanting to have a relationship with Christ the rest of his life. It's hard to do when you're in the nitty-gritty of every day all the time. When you're that new mom with the babies, everybody always told me it was easier, and it really is, because when they get older, it truly is a little bit more difficult. It's easier because they can tie their own shoes, and they can actually help with dinner, and they can carry a baby's car seat out to the van for me this morning. But there are heart issues now that you have to be really sensitive about. And even in, with my firstborn being a son, having to cut some of those apron strings and let Dad really have a voice. Not let him, but give that more to him and speaking into my son's life. Because I know that there are tendencies, they want to draw to mom because mom's a little more tender or maybe a little more compassionate, and dads are tough because they really need to be, especially with their sons. And I'm really just thinking about their hearts, and I just don't want them to stray away from the Lord. So I'm asking for a whole lot of wisdom these days.
And forgiveness.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I ask
me.
Yeah, I always ask my kids to forgive me.
Yeah.
When I've screwed up. And that's what's so great about mothering. I think that's the beauty of it, is that our kids love us no matter what. I know I've screwed up so many times. Then as soon as you say, I'm sorry, I really did not handle that well. It's okay, Mommy. And maybe it's a little harder for the older ones to give that quick answer like a 3-year-old would.
Right.
But I think if you have those good, honest conversations and share your struggles, and I always tell my firstborn, I'm sorry, you're the first one. I'm just practicing on you.
Yes.
I'm still learning. I don't really know exactly how to do this teenage thing, but please give me grace through it, and I know that he does.
Aw, thank you, Megan and Joanna, for sharing your heart and your honesty and transparency about being moms. And I hope that this has been helpful to you, our listener. If you know of a young mom who could use some encouragement, please pass this episode on to her and just say, hey, here's something that might be helpful to you in your journey. And we continued our conversation, and we're going to air the rest of our conversation next week. We turned it more toward, I'll just be honest, how about me, Frances, someone who's not a mother, a biological mother? How can I reach out and be a friend to, say, someone who is a mom sometimes that can feel a little awkward. Maybe you're a lot older than the young moms, or maybe you just don't have kids like me, and you wonder, could they use help? What do I have to offer? I'm not a mom, so they probably just need mom advice, but I don't have any. So where do I fit in, and how can we as women be friends to each other, whether we have kids or not? So that's kind of where our conversation turned for next week. So join us next week, and truly have a wonderful weekend celebrating with your family.